Welcome to Blitz. I'm Brian Curry here at Dawson County High School with fourth-year head coach Sid Maxwell. Coach, always a pleasure getting to talk football with you. I really appreciate your time.
Well, it's likewise.
Yeah. Now, I know I expected with your defense coming back, you had plenty of weapons on offense, but when you lose a guy like Kobe Watson, some people might wonder, would we see a 6-1 start at this point in the season? And you probably put those expectations on the team to be high anyway, but how do you feel like this season has gone compared to what maybe most people would have thought?
Well, you hope, again, as you're building a program, that you're going to have graduation as part of it.
Yep.
And then the other guys know their role and they got to step up and play. And as far as the coaching staff, what we have to do is to adapt to our players.
Yeah.
And so we're not the same type of team.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to fit it into our guys who are now running the system.
Yeah.
And again, so we're a little more run oriented, and again using our strengths, and and that's what you're trying to do is keep that level of expectation to compete day in, day out, and raise the bar and keep moving forward.
Absolutely, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you organize this to where you build the foundation, and then you just play to your guys' strengths. And the run game has been absolutely phenomenal. I think the offense is averaging 41 points a game right now, which is one of the tops in the state. But what can you say about Savon Clark's play, and especially what he's been able to do from going an all-state running back to now also handling the QB duties?
Well, he took on that role very unselfishly. When you ask a guy who gained that many yards, he's a leading rusher here in Dawson County, at tailback, and to give up his senior year to get less touches in order to keep his role, to keep us moving forward. He was the best option we had at quarterback. Yeah. He still gets his runs in, but he also has a great arm, and even though maybe he hadn't had the repetition of reading defenses, and it's been a journey with that as we've moved on, he's getting better. And again, like I said, he's becoming more comfortable at quarterback, and with that being said, it's a challenge each week. We got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, well, that's scary to hear you say that Savon is only getting better. And it definitely helps having the transfer come in, senior transfer, Ahmad Kamara. How big has he been to be able to have that 1-2 punch? And then, of course, you got the elite offensive line paving the way for these guys.
Well, the big thing with Ahmad is, he's a very physical bruising back. Yeah. And again, when you can pound people with him, and then you followed up with Savon right after him, which is also a bruising back. If they get into the second level, then people have to make tackles, which they're not really excited about making tackles against those guys. So, and again, they always were running forward and falling forward. So the goal of any offense is keep moving the chains.
Yeah, and got to throw in this question. I didn't even think about it until just now, but go back to the first game of the year. You're playing at Habersham Central, and that's a 6A team. Very physical team that you had to play, and you're such a seasoned veteran coach. Very gutsy calls you made there at the end of the game to, instead of going for the game time field goal, you say, let's go for the win. What's that conversation like? Is that one where you gauge the players?
Well, again, like I said, you do gauge the players. In that game, we had a pretty good lead and let it slip away from us. Right. And then got behind and had to march down to, either, like you said, go for the field goal or go for the score. Yeah. I called timeout, and really to get the pulse of the offense, what their mentality was.
Yeah. I'm sure they were saying, let's go for it.
And again, because, I wanted it to basically to look at Savon and see what he was doing. He looked at me and said, Coach, I can get it. So for me, as far as coaching, that took it out of my hands.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I wanted to hear. Yep. And again, at that stage, first game of the season, a new quarterback, that he walk in and say, I'll get the touchdown, I'll get the first down. And which he did. Yeah. And he did a lot of it with just pure determination. Yep. The boys did a pretty good job up front. He made a great cut. They had it well defensed, and he made a good play, and long story short, he ended up scoring, and trying to build confidence in your team. that was a no-brainer as a head football coach.
Man, what a way to start the year like that, and then the onside kick to come after that too is pretty gutsy as well.
You know, Habersham's got a lot of weapons.
Oh yeah, they do.
And Trey Luttrell is just a seasoned quarterback. And
you didn't want to give him that one
Didn't
more
want to
shot.
give him a shot. Yes.
Yeah. And on the flip side, man, I know you're blessed with some great talent here, and you're a great coach. You got great coaches around you, but an elite defense that we've seen this year too. Where does this rank among the many teams you've had in years past? This is a really special group.
Well, we've been blessed. I mean, from my Sequoia days to Lambert days, our defensive scheme, we've usually been really competitive defensively, year in, year out. Since I came over here running this fast attack offense, our defense really gets burdened a lot. Yeah. Because it has to play so many plays. Just because of our high tempo. Used to be in my old days, I slowed it down so much. So instead of getting, used to get 40 and 50 reps, now we're getting 90 reps on defense. Wow. So this team's had to rise up to be able to get the ball back to the offense. We're scoring points, and a lot of that's the reason. This year's team is getting people off the field. Yeah. We're getting 3 and outs, where last year's team played solid defense, but sometimes we couldn't always get those third down wins. Right. And this team's been able, for the most part, been able to keep first downs from happening and getting the ball back to our offense and give them more opportunities. And that's one of the reasons you're seeing it's a hand-in-hand. People, they see us scoring, but they don't realize that our defense is getting the ball back to the offense so they can score.
With good field position too, yeah.
Exactly. If they get a 10 and 15 drive on you, take the clock, and then put you in bad field position, you said, then you don't score as many points. And we're able to go 3 and out, get a short field. Special teams been doing well as far as returning punts and getting the ball back to favorable for us. Yeah. And it's all 3 phases that you have to keep building to have success. Yeah, and especially in this tough, 3A competition we're in. Yeah. You better be pretty good in all phases of the game.
Yeah, there's not really an off week for you guys, even in this region with yourselves, GAC, North Hall, just to name a few. And let's talk a little about the GAC game. I know it's not the result you quite wanted, but what a fantastic ending to that game. You guys just never gave up, so we saw the determination. What kind of statement do you feel like the team made in that game?
Well, I think as you look back, I think that's a growing game for anybody. When you come out of the game and you look back and now you start teaching the finer points, the little things. Yeah. And they realize, I should have done that. Yep. And like we always say, and when you're trying to coach, you coach to hopefully for the young man to get it correct. Yep. And now, since that game, we're focusing to practice enough so they can't get it wrong. Yeah. And that's probably where we sort of flipped the switch a little bit after that game. Yeah. We knew we were supposed to be here, but we weren't here every time. So we were right most of the time, but hopefully we're going to practice and do things where now, after that game, we can build on it, that it's automatic that you don't think about it and you get it right.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that these 2 teams meet up again in the playoffs. That's always a possibility, and that would be very exciting too. And I think we might see a different result there too. Yes, so, talk about you had the bye week to regroup a little bit. You said there's some things you got to work on. You guys probably got a little healthier with the bye week too. But you're closing out with Fannin County, Cherokee Bluff, and then North Hall, which the North Hall game is going to prove a little bit difficult with that option that they run. But what are you kind of expecting from the team in these last 3 games?
Well, we had that week off and we had fall break, so it really worked out well for us. We had 0 games with, the JV was actually off too. So, so we had the whole week. So we gave the boys the time off to enjoy their families. And then, today we're coming back to work, and I told them it's you can be great, you can be comfortable, but you can't be both. So we need to make sure that we're working this Monday to enjoy that time we had off. And again, Fannon's a good football team, very physical football team. Got a young quarterback who's a little bit of a gunslinger, makes things happen. And they got some big backs, big linemen. So our focus always is to worry about who we are and what we do. Right. But we got to prepare for Fannin and keep doing the little things and keep getting better.
Yeah. All right, well, Coach, thank you so much again for your time. I always appreciate it. Looking for a big run this postseason for the Tigers.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.